Heather and Jason with Peace, Love, Happy here. We are the creators, the artisans, we are the superheroes, and the sellers of Peace, Love, Happy's all natural skincare and soaps. We are here to talk to you about our soaps. We're going to show you how we make a batch of soap live here with you. And Jason is going to talk to you about Shungite and why we use it in our soaps, as well as any of the skincares that we make that has water in it. So a lot of our skincare does not have water in it. That is a anhydrogenous, but like our best face wash ever, that is one of our best sellers, definitely has Shungite water in it. So Jason's going to tell you all about that. In the meantime, I'm going to start measuring up some soap. I'll come in and talk to you every once in a while about that. But Jason, take the stage.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. So Silver Noble Shungite, it's 2 billion years old. It's from Lake Onega in Russia. That's where it's mined from. This is a large specimen here. It's 98% activated carbon. And the molecular structure of a Silver Noble Shungite is called a fullerene. That's kind of like a geodesic dome. So in the center of the molecule, there's an actual empty cavity. And this crystal, the carbon can draw heavy metals, can draw parasites, bacterias from the water into those areas and neutralize them. You know that fullerenes also add minerals and everything into the water. They help neutralize the free radicals. So in skincare, when we use Shungite water on the skin, it helps add elasticity to the skin, eliminates free radicals at the surface of the skin, so surface tension is relieved. It's anti-wrinkle, it's anti-inflammatory, so it helps relax the cells. The way that we prepare the water is we'll take a gallon of water and we'll use 25 grams of Silver Noble Shungite and add it to that water. That's enough to neutralize that amount of water in about 24 hours. We'll go ahead and store that in a jug of distilled water. So we have some Silver Noble just chilling in the bottom of the jug down there. So we let that sit and just neutralize our water and treat the water for a few days. Strain it out whenever we add it to any of our teas. It's also what we use to filter our drinking water. All the water that we cook with is filtered with Silver Noble Shungite. Go ahead.
Hey.
Just dump the whole jar in. It's all going in there.
Eventually. Back to your Shungite.
And also we use Silver Noble Shungite in the metaphysical healing realm. We use it to help shield our energy, the electromagnetic energies that we're exposed to through radio waves. Some of us will use it like on our cell phones, our laptop computers, whenever we interact with electronics a lot. We'll use a Silver Noble Shungite orgonite, or a button that we kind of two-face tape to the device. It helps shield our bodies from that electromagnetic energy. In our chi energy, the energy that flows within us, we'll use and practice Silver Noble Shungite energy healing, and we'll use the Silver Noble as a energy shield to kind of shield that chi energy so that it's not taken from us unwillingly. So yeah, lots of good things come from this 2 billion year old crystal. We incorporate into our lives every day, all the properties that we eat, all the properties that we clean ourselves with. What oil is next?
All right, so let's talk about what I got going on here. So far I have measured for my soap. I have some coconut oil and some shea butter in here. I'm about to measure in some almond oil, hemp seed oil, and olive oil. Silly me. So far that's what we have going on. We very carefully formulate every soap that we make. Each soap that we make, we go to my favorite website, which is soapcalc.net. And I'll put a link up on our stuff after I finish all this. In the meantime, that's where I go to make sure that we have the right saponification, that we have the right oleic values, the right pH, the right hardness. I just want to make sure I am serving everyone correctly and making sure I know what I'm doing when I'm making my soap. As far as that happens, when we mix all this stuff in, the stuff that you see me mixing right now is the base of the soap. So I'm going to mix this stuff in with sodium hydroxide. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. And then these guys, we're going to melt them down and we're going to mix those with our essential oils. So our essential oils, or this is already going to be melted and heated. Our essential oils are going to go in those. We're going to mix this with the sodium hydroxide, and then that's going to go in the end. In the soaping field, we call that super petting. So what I'm doing with that is I'm making sure that the soap has enough oils and butters to become a soap, and at that same time it has some extra oils and butters to be able to condition your skin and keep you hydrated at the same time. So that's my whole plan there. Last thing to measure before we get into the water and the sodium hydroxide. Hang tight with me. So dealing with things that are caustic, like your sodium hydroxide, you need to be really careful and aware of what you're dealing with. So making sure that all of your butters and oils, the extra butters that go in the end, the sodium hydroxide, all of those things are measured correctly and you're aware of what to do. So one thing to be really aware of is if you ever are in the middle of making soap and you spill some on yourself, you have to know how to counteract that. So it's being aware, it's being understanding and being knowledgeable about what you're doing, not being afraid of it. So you shouldn't be afraid of sodium hydroxide if you know exactly what you're doing with it. So the answer to that question is white vinegar. So if I am ever making soap and we spill it on ourselves, we go right straight to the white vinegar. You pour it directly on that area because it does not stop burning. It doesn't go away. It literally keeps on burning until you actually put something that is alkaline enough on there to stop it. So here we have all our oils and butters measured. Next thing we're going to measure out is our water, which, look, it's magically measured out. That happens. All right, so at this point, I'm going to put this right here, and we're going to do a magic thing, and we're going to do one of these. Snap. Snap. Okay, so before I go any further, I want to say, like a minute ago, I said that vinegar was alkaline. I was wrong. It's acidic. Just saying. Okay, now we go forward. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to measure our sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide, however, is that alkaline. So this is so alkaline, it is going to change these oils and butters into soap, which is actually salt, which is really hard to explain like in this short period of time. So I will tell you, maybe someday we'll have a class on that. What? In the meantime, Jason is going to measure this out for me. We are going to mix these together, and we are going to use a whisk to mix them together. Honestly, sodium hydroxide, after it is whisked together, and actually after it is like formed last time, before we can actually put this in the soap, it needs to literally sit for about a half an hour. What that does, it isn't going to bring it down to a lower temperature because this stuff gets super hot. So it's going to bring it down in temperature. It's going to actually like calm it down a little bit. At that time, we can make soap. In the meantime, I kind of got one back there that's already ready. So guess what time it is? Tonight. So our stuff's all ready. It's been about that half an hour that our sodium hydroxide is chilling out and calming down. It's clear now. Our butters and oils are all melted and ready. Our butters are all ready over here. I got one more thing to do on this, and I'm going to mix the pre-measured essential oils in with those. Might make a mess when I'm doing it because I'm Heather, and that's what I do. But we got them in there. So these butters and oils are all measured out. They're all melted. They are all similar temperatures of what you're going to find our sodium hydroxide about right now. That is important that they are within the same range of temperature to make sure that we're making a soap that's going to turn out perfect. Another thing that's important is when we put the sodium hydroxide in with the oils, we are actually going to pour the sodium hydroxide into the oils. The reason for that is because if anything inside of here splashes, it's going to be the oils. If we put the oils into the sodium hydroxide, that's what's going to splash. So what's super important is that we don't get any splashing of caustic things, because I'm not trying to get no burns tonight.
All right, we're going to use a immersion blender on the high speed and try to keep it submerged so that we don't sling any of this stuff around, and just keep it moving quickly so we make as much contact as we can. consistency called trace. Just a little thinner than a pudding, where you can actually see the trace left behind from the tool. Check again. See how we can leave the imprint of the tool behind in the top layer. So now we see that we're at that slightly less consistency. We're going to go ahead and add our butters in. And we don't want to over mix either. Sometimes that can cause consistency problems as well. So part of learning the soaping techniques is just learning what the consistency looks and feels like as you're mixing. All right, looks like we're ready to go into a mold.
Flatten it all out, make it beautiful. What we do at this point is we're going to put this in a box as small as we can actually find. So if it supports the side, that's great. Otherwise, you might want to find something that supports the box side so that it doesn't like bow out in the center. You're going to put blankets and towels, and you're going to actually make sure that that's able to hold its heat over throughout the night. I'm going to take out my stuff so I can talk. Yay me. Okay, so you're going to put the heat on it. You're going to actually keep the heat on it. So you're going to put blankets and towels over this. At that point, you want to keep that temperature in there overnight. After, let's say 24 hours, you can take it out of the mold and then actually cut through one. And that's actually going to have to sit for another 6 to 8 weeks. What happens at that point? So you are actually dissolving out or neutralizing out the sodium hydroxide. So when people say sodium hydroxide, is it in your soaps? No, it is not. It actually is what is bonding with that oil and butter to create that soap. So when people say it's a no-lye soap, that's a lie. Because in order for them to make a soap, they had to actually use some kind of lye. Whether it was a saponifier that was a sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, something synthetic. You have to use a saponifier to make it into a soap. After that, they can actually extract out the glycerin and make it so that you can remelt it and pour it, and then it's your soap, which I straight respect that. But no-lye soap is a whole different kind of area and a different thing, and it actually had lye in it at one point in time. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to actually do a snappy thing. We're going to pause, but not quite yet. So we are going to give you something extra special. So Jason is going to do his cutting of the soaps, which is one of the most amazing and relaxing things ever. This one right here in front of you is our Wise soap. So it's actually my personal favorite right now. Wise has a little bit of frankincense, myrrh, cedarwood, and some cypress. That is literally one of my favorites, and it's so smooth and pretty. Now, if I were to touch this at this point in time, it would actually still burn my skin. Because like I said, you got to hold it for 6 to 8 weeks before you can use it, because it's neutralizing out that sodium hydroxide. However, it's so pretty. The one we're going to cut for you is one of our very originals. It's our OG. It's our OG tea tree lemongrass. It's one of our most loved soaps that we have. And Jason is going to demonstrate that for you. In the meantime, I'm going to run this to a different room so that it's able to get like heated up and protected for a minute. But I'll be right back. Jason, you ready to cut your soap?
Yep.
Okay.
No snaps in the circle?
No snap. There you go.
We're going to be cutting a fresh loaf of our OG tea tree lemongrass. So we're just going to kind of cut some of the flashing off. This is still super fresh, so it's very soft. You can cut it with a butter knife even. So we're just going to knock some of the flashing off so it's nice and clean. Just old school, use a ruler. Just going to mark them off in 1-inch bars. These make 11-inch loaves, so we're going to mark off at every inch. And come out with, hopefully 10 out of 11 of them will be good. We'll see. All the ones that aren't perfect are just testers for us. No bar soap goes to spoil. So yeah, we do everything by hand. No automated processes. We still put all of our hands on every single thing that we do. Alright, now that we've got everything marked off, we use the serrated edge. Gives us a nice texture to the bars of soap. We're just going to push straight down. There we go. Really get that OG tea tree lemongrass smell as we're cutting through them. They're super fresh. All the moisture hasn't even evaporated out yet. We're going to go ahead and cut these and put them on a drying tray for a while longer before we actually label them and sell them. OG tea tree lemongrass.
So family and friends, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you guys all in the future. In the meantime, stay happy, healthy, and wealthy. Remember that wealthy is not just money. It's what you feel internally and what you feel about your life and what you feel about the things around you. So stay positive in this time of craziness. We're always here for you. And remember, we love you. Peace, love, and happy. Coffee soon. Bye.